right. Well, I am so excited about today's message because, again, it's such a powerful and positive way to remind us of the power of our own minds, the power of our thinking. It's interesting, when we think about what a practitioner does, a practitioner works within that one common mind. So when we talk about practitioners here, we're talking about the people who have gone through the training to become a practitioner, which of course takes 3 or 4 years, probably about 4 by the time it's done. And it takes this time to do two things. One is to prepare the practitioner for what is to come. The other is to really elevate the consciousness so that they're really clear when they're doing the work that they do. And the work that they do in mind. See, one of the things that we believe here, the main thing we believe here, is that everything begins as an idea, all right? And from there, we create. So an idea in mind, and then it becomes manifest in form. So what we really want to think about with our practitioners, when we go to a practitioner to have spiritual mind treatment for some thing that's happening in our lives, what we're doing is we're allowing that person to know for us that we are perfect, whole, and complete. So what Ernest Holmes has to say about practitioners is what a practitioner really does is to take their patient, disease, and everything that appears to be wrong, right into their own mentality. And here they dissolve all false appearances and all erroneous conclusions. Yes. The practitioner takes the condition not as a reality, but as a belief. And right at the center of their own being, they neutralize the whole false thought, thus healing the condition. So we're not saying that the practitioner pretends that you don't have a disease or heartbreak or low finances. What the practitioner is doing is seeing beyond that to your inherent wholeness. They see you as perfect. Now remember, what we focus on expands and grows. So if we see ourselves as perfect, whole, and complete, we begin to show up in that way. And if we believe that we're broken and flawed, well, we kind of show up that way. And we've all met people who have been in this experience. And what the practitioner is doing is really, in their own mind, becoming very, very clear about your divinity. And if they can really get to that place of believing it, then what happens is a shift occurs. So the more completely, this is Ernest Holmes, the more completely the practitioner is convinced of the power of their own word, the more power their word will have. There must be a complete realization that the power of the word, operating as the truth and the reality of being, can do all things. Remember, we often say that there's one power, and it is omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence. So if it's everywhere present, if it's all powerful, if it's all knowing, well, for starters, if it's all powerful, if it's all everywhere present, well, it's right here. And if it's right here, I can use it. Okay, so when we're thinking about life, when we're thinking about what we're doing, we want to really be clear that I have within me, you have within you, a power that is far beyond anything you've ever imagined. And you can use it. And the interesting thing is when you have an idea that you really believe, as that goes into the law of mind, into that subjective consciousness, the only thing the universe could ever say to you is yes. 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 So who's saying no? Think about that. Who's saying no? So therefore, and this is Ernest Holmes again, therefore the person whose consciousness is the clearest, who has the most complete idea of life, will be the best healer. So we want to make sure that we're working with a consciousness. We want to work with a practitioner that we really believe that they believe in this, that they believe in their own power, that they believe that their word has power. And what we want them to do is to remember that back of the appearance is the reality. So if we're doing spiritual mind treatment for health, we don't want to go, okay, there's cancer here, and as I focus on this cancer, I begin to see the disease, going away. We don't do that. We don't do that. What we're doing is we're looking beyond the cancer, and we're looking at the reality of the being. And what we're saying is that this being is perfect, whole, and complete. Ernest Holmes says healing is not creating a perfect body or a perfect idea. Healing is not creating a perfect body or a perfect idea. It is revealing an idea which is already perfect. Healing is not a process, it is a revelation. And it's through the thought of the practitioner to the thought of the patient. There may be a process in healing, but not a process of healing. The process in healing is the mental work and the time it takes the practitioner to convince themselves of the perfection of their patient, and the length of time it takes the patient to realize this perfection. So what we're saying here is that if I'm doing treatment for you, or if anyone here, if Sharon's doing treatment for you, Reverend Sharon, whoever's doing your treatment work for you, they need to be aware of your divinity. They must know it right at the core of their being, that whatever's going on for you is merely a temporary situation that can be immediately erased with a new thought. So I'm going to share one of mine. When I was 27 years old, I had a life-changing experience. I had a spiritual epiphany that allowed me to absolutely know that I am one with God and that God is love. So that was my experience. And for the next week, it was like my head was spinning, trying to figure out what to do with this. I started reading the Bible because I was in a Christian church at that point. And I'm trying to figure things out because I'm going, there's this infinite something in the universe, and it's all love, and it's all good, and it's all beautiful. And as I'm sitting with that idea, what I realized just a few days later was, wait a minute, this is the temple. This is my temple that I live in. I don't have the right to kill it. So at the time, I was smoking 4 packages of cigarettes a day. 2 days after I had this awareness, I butted out a cigarette at my coffee break at work, because we could smoke at work at that point. This is going back many years. I sat there, I butted that cigarette out. I looked at my friend across the table and I said, oh, that's the last cigarette you'll see me smoke until the next one. That was 41 years ago, and I'm still not smoking. Never have, and I've never had a craving. Never had a craving. Now, why is that? Well, the idea that I had that this is a temple and I do not have the right to destroy it, that idea was so strong that I was able to quit smoking cold turkey, no problem at all. When our mind is clear, and remember, there is one common mind, right? We're all connected at the subjective level. So when I'm treating for you, I'm knowing a truth for you. And the healing that occurs can take a minute, take an hour, can take a week. Again, it's how quickly can I believe that it's done. With my smoking, it was 2 days later, I butted that cigarette and went, that's it, I'm done. Never had mood swings, never craved anything else, never put anything else in place of it. It was just simply gone. When we get real clear and when we're working with a practitioner, we want to make sure that they see us in our wholeness. We don't want them sympathizing with us. I mean, they're going to be compassionate with you, of course, but we want to change this thing. That's why we come to a practitioner, not so we can maintain the challenges we're currently facing. We come to a practitioner because we're looking for a shift. We're looking for a shift in consciousness. That's it. That's all we're looking for. Yeah, that's it. There's nothing else. And that shift in consciousness comes in the moment that we accept a divine truth. I am one with Spirit. I am one with God, universe, first cause, whatever name you want to call it, whatever makes you happy, whatever feels most comfortable. A lot of people use higher power. All of those are fine. They're perfect. Whatever word works for you. Fred, Frank, Jerry, Joe, doesn't matter. Whatever name you use for the absolute is perfect. And if you can believe that it is being you and that you have the ability to change absolutely anything in your life for the better by simply shifting your perspective and really believing the shift. You got to believe it. You got to believe it to change it. So I'm so excited to be sharing these daily readings with you because that's where this comes from, is from the daily readings of this week. And when we look at these daily readings, I wanted to take the time to talk to you a little bit about them because you're getting them in your inbox every day. I don't know if you're reading them or not, but if you are and you have a question about the reading, please give me a call, give me a text, send me an email, revbarbara@rogers.com, whatever, revb@ujoyc.ca, wherever. Just send me a note, give me a phone call. What happens is that when we allow ourselves to really explore the consciousness that we hold, as we begin to explore that, we begin to heal our lives. And this is why taking classes is one of the most important things you can do. Yeah, Sunday morning, we have some music, we have some fun, we have some meditation, we get a little uplifted, a little inspiration, and then we go about our week. But what about in the middle of the week when you've forgotten what I said on Sunday? Now, you can go to YouTube and watch the talk again, or you can register for class. Join the classes, be in conversation with the other people. We're doing them online. And by doing that, we're giving you the space to learn and to learn kind of at your own pace. But what you will learn will be transformative. One of my students many years ago was in first class, had met me because I had done their mother's divorce, or their mother's memorial service. That was strange. Anyway, I was doing their mother's memorial service and they were so impressed with what I did, they decided to come check out the center. And when they came to class, I had them pair up and do treatments for each other. And so she was like, well, I don't even know what to ask for. This is kind of dumb. So she asks the person she's with to treat for two things. One is that she would have someone appreciate her. And the second thing is that someone would bring her a cup of coffee without her asking for it. So fast forward 2 or 3 days, and there's a knock at her front door. And she goes to the door and answers it. And her former husband, and by former, I mean 25 years former, knocking on the door. He's got 2 cups of coffee. He hands her a coffee and says, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you raising our children. She hadn't seen or heard from him in 25 years. So when she came back to class the following week, she goes, That's it. She said, I'm all in. And from there, began to work these ideas and has made quite a change in her life as a result. So the journey that we're walking is a journey of oneness. And when we recognize that oneness, we start to see the importance of each person in our life and what they bring or what they take away. And it's important that we live according to what's in our highest and best good, always sharing that light around us as well. This is the journey, and it truly is an exquisite one. So I invite you to really relax into this idea and to think about life in a little bit different way, I suppose. So I just want to share one thing and to close, and that is we must get this very clearly. Otherwise, someday there'll be a wall between our thought and its ability to heal some condition or some person. The patient and the practitioner think into one common mind. Therefore, a patient comes to a practitioner for healing. The practitioner does not try to hypnotize them or suggest anything to them. The practitioner declares the truth, capital T truth, about them. And to the degree that they bring their own consciousness to a true recognition of perfection, provided there's a receptivity in the thought of the patient, the person will be healed. Nothing can hinder it. Nothing can hinder it. How cool is that?